Good evening, everybody. I look like a maniac. Ah! We're ready to play some music, though. So let me go post this on the website. Website is jollyrogerukulele.com. And let me get you in here. Website jollyrogerukulele.com. I'm going to paste the link. Shift, fold, link. Enter, edit, settings, open a new window, update, and then we'll also tweet this. So many ninth chords on ukulele. Ukulele, exclamation point. jollyrogerukulele.com jollyrogerukulele.com, and then we hit this and we put that picture on it, and then we hit tweet. Alright, so now we have tweeted and we look pretty good. Not like having a spaceship on our thing. Kay is already in. Michael is already in. I look like Gary we know best. What case is I look like a maniac all of the time. I'm what are you gonna do? I didn't really take the weekend off, but I certainly did not work very hard at getting things caught up. And among those things was shaving, and blah blah blah. So anyway, and plus I don't have the heat on high enough, so I'm wearing a jacket. I totally look like I would drive past a park in a van. All right, so the link opens up correctly, and I gotta go over to the page with all of our stuff, sheet music, and I gotta make sure I have everything in my book here. Pretty sure I had it all in last week, but let's double check. Storage. And tonight we'll play Beyond the Sea, Blue Moon, Girl from Ipanema, and then whatever else we can fit in. So why don't you guys grab Beyond the Sea for ukulele first, and we'll get started on that here in just a minute. Ukulele, Beyond the Sea. We have 3 pages worth of A's. Beyond the Sea, ukulele. That's where we'll start today. All right. Who else made it in? Sherry is in. Hey, Sherry. Hope you're feeling better. Valerie, in from Chicago. Valerie, I missed you during the day. Michael, let's see. Terry, kind of dark in Denver. I know. That's why you got to live south of Colfax, Terry. We don't fear the darkness. Well, you live pretty close to Cheeseman Park. You should fear the dark. You should fear not the darkness so much as the craziness that accompanies the darkness. Jeanette in from Smithers, British Columbia. I am now pulling up my map to figure out where that is. Hold on. I need to know where Smithers is. First of all, if you're naming a town, you think of all these names. Let's see. What should we name the town? And somebody says, let's call it Smithers. And you're like, all right, that sounds good. Smither. Smithers, BC, Canada. All right. So, oh my gosh. There's an airport there. Let me look and see. You have to scan out a ways. Oh my gosh. Well, you're just north of Houston. How about that? All right. Babine Mountains Provincial Park. My goodness, but more south of Morristown. All right. Jeanette, we're delighted you're joining us here. First of all, let me apologize for my appearance. I usually look a whole lot more like George Clooney than I do tonight. But this is what you got tonight. Diana's in. Good evening, Diane. Rita's in from Illinois. Sandy in from Michigan. Carol in from western Colorado. Marianne also from Michigan. Evelyn in from Ecuador. Good evening, Evelyn. Kat in from Texarkana. Pauline is in from Northern California. Vic is in from Oregon. Annie is a local. Janice is in from Sydney, Australia. Amy's in. She's from local. I've been playing with tempo slow-mo, and it's humbling. Yeah, so Amy's point here is not unimportant. When you download the MP3 in your phone and you use the tempo slow mode, it has a very rude ability to tell you the truth, and you should know that's why I don't necessarily recommend that you play along to MP3s. I do think you should listen to the MP3s. I do think while reading the sheet music, I do think you want to know what's in your sheet music. But I do know that you can get better if you will play to you will get better doing that. It is extremely demoralizing overall, but I would not necessarily recommend using tempo slow-mo and using those devices until you have a pretty good handle on the song already. Like, you already know what you're going to do. You're not really having to think through fingering and all that stuff. And so my sense is that you want to use that somewhat sparingly. Let's see. Red just made it in. Red, I forgot what I used for you earlier today. Here, let's use this for Red. I don't remember what this one does. All right, Red is in the house. Jeanette, small town in the middle of the province. Yeah, I see that, Jeanette. I'm kind of jealous a little bit. Mame is here. Mame's lost all of her friends. All of her friends have moved out of town, so Mame is here all on her own. And Linda, here's another British Columbia. Need my cup of tea. I know. Sunny today up there. We have one more week of darkness at this period, and then we switch to daylight savings, and we will have normal light again. All right, guys, I've got Beyond the Sea pulled up in front of me, the ukulele version. Those of you guys that are just sitting in, the sheet music is actually member sheet music, and so it's all hidden behind the paywall. So you'll get a sense of what we're doing here, and I hope that it kind of inspires you to come join us. During the daytime, we have tons of newer player lessons, intermediate. I wouldn't use the word intermediate. The stuff we do during the day is very, very challenging as well, but we have lots and lots of sheet music that's sitting around. That's all public domain, sitting on the website, which you are free to use and study and learn from. And frankly, if you plan to teach some people with it, I'd love you if you sent me an email and say, hey, I'm going to make some copies of this and use it in my ukulele group or teaching it in my classroom or whatever. I'm totally into that kind of idea. Music that we have on Monday nights is for members who've joined the website. And if you are not a member of the website, please go read the subscribe tab. It gives you a little bit of information on it. As far as I know, I don't know this to be 100% sure, but I'm not positive you can get this quality of stuff for this price anywhere else. Maybe there is. I don't know. I don't know every single website out there, but I do know that what we offer here is pretty good stuff, and frankly, will keep you busy the rest of your life. So tonight we will be playing from the members song list. We're working on jazz right now. Jazz is not by a long shot my favorite genre of music, but the stuff we're playing here is really international standards. There's stuff that everybody ought to play, no matter what kind of music you like. And the challenge with this type of music is that it doesn't necessarily work. And in other words, they pick these crazy chords. When they're performing something like Beyond the Sea, they sort of figure out what the chords are as they're going along. These are advanced musicians that play jazz. And then somebody writes down what the chords are. Well, they may or may not make sense in context, and they certainly are very difficult to fit onto an ukulele. And so sometimes we have to complicate things, sometimes we simplify things a little bit, but my goal is to end up with a really, really nice arrangement for you at the end that works. And I think that's what I have here. Now, I will tell you the stuff that I have sitting in my computer. I just finished up my Funny Valentine, which again does not really fit on the ukulele. And I did manage to get it onto a Haiju ukulele. It's playing okay. It's not exactly easy. And now I have to convert it to baritone. And so that will be coming out this week, along with... I think I've just about beaten Harlem Nocturne down. Boy, that was a tough one. I have Misty done, and I have Nature Boy pretty close to being done. The three that I'm still needing to get going further on, Moonglow, Stella by Starlight, and They Can't Take That Away From Me are the next three on that list. So getting Moonglow should go together pretty quickly. I've got a pretty good idea with that one. So in any event, here we go. Beyond the Sea. Patty made it in. Jennifer here from the Milky Way. Yeah, Chicago jazz is a whole nother separate issue, right? It's a little like Kansas City barbecue. All right, and Barbara's in. Beyond the Sea, ukulele version. Baritone players, you're playing chords probably. Okay. And again, on Monday nights, my goal is not to play at full speed. My goal is to try to keep the pacing relatively simple, so that you can see where your easy spots are and where your hard spots are. If we get to something that looks particularly nasty, I'll stop and talk about it. You can play chords if you are on ukulele, just practicing your chords, 4 beats per measure. You can definitely play just melody. Those of you that are still in the process of getting all of your instrumental reading up, please feel free play the melody. Seriously, that's a big deal. And then those of you guys who've been around a while, you know Tough Fuchs your thing. So from the top, 1, 2, 3. Sit and I look at that and I'm like, what the heck is that? 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, that's not it. 4, 4, 6, 4, 6, 5, 7. Oh, that's a bar. That's your bar. Well, that's a bar nothing. I don't know what the heck that is. That's what you were playing right there. Okay, keep going. Go. Discord shape. That's not right either. On the wrong frets. Goodness. Page 2. Feel the chord change there, or the key change. And then you're at 8, 9, 8, 10. And you're up on 8. And then 4, 5, 6. Sixes. 7, 7, 9, 8, 8, 9, 7. You hear yet another key change there. You hear that? All right, 4, 5, 6, 7. There it is. And then 7, some 6s. 6, 7, 8. And then the 11s and 12s. And 8s and 9s. All 9s. 6, 7, 8. 6, 8, 8. Is that right? 6, 7, 8. 6. Oh, that's this one. So that section there, we'll go back and talk about it in just a minute, and then hit the 0. 4, 5, 6, 7. And then 9s and 10s and 11. So let's talk about it. All right, so we got lots and lots going on here. Very exciting piece of music. And this thing, for those of you who like a challenge, right? Every now and then somebody says, "Oh, the music we're playing is boring." One, you're boring, and two, let's talk about just basic attack strategy. So we know for sure the bridge where there's 2 key changes that are invisible is where the real brain damage is going to happen. Okay, so let's go through. Let's talk about music and how it puts together. So if we're in the key of A, B, C, D and E are going to sound pretty normal, and then over here, remember you got a 6 minor, F sharp minor. So A, D, E or E7 and F sharp minor, those are going to make sense. So those are going to be chords that are those are going to be the come back to home kind of chords. Anything other than that is going to be this moment where you're like, oh God, what the heck is going on? The other thing with jazz is that it's going to be moving up the neck a lot, and you're going to end up with really weird shapes that you may or may not be used to. And so if I'm a baritone player and I'm just going to be playing the chords, I'm thinking I'm going with the simplest ones I can think of at those moments. A, F sharp, D, and E7, which dominates page 1 here. And that's going to be my chord structure. Now, if I'm a ukulele player, I'm thinking, well, golly, this is a lot of work. Maybe I'll play melody. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Right, so you've got yours works. There's no question that you guys have a great part to play. Tough uke. Let's go through it little bit by little bit. Just make sure you know what you're doing. 0. And baritones, you should be paying attention too, because we're going to switch to your instrument here in just a second. The 0, and then there's an A chord, regular F sharp minor, regular D, and then E7 with the 4. You can do it this way, 1, 2, 4, which is how I usually do it, because I think I get an interesting. But you can also just play 4, 4, 4, and then O2. Got an A chord, melody note on that C sharp with your pinky on 4 is very common. Back to your F sharp minor, just 3 strings. Open. And then this D, whenever you see this, a bar on there, you're really playing a D6, a 6 chord, but we don't necessarily label it as a D6 because it's the melody that's causing the chord to be different. Okay, and then I, of course, would use my pinky to get to this 4. And pay attention we get a lot of triplets in this song, and they show up in surprising places. Somewhere beyond the sea. So when you see a triplet, you put a little extra energy into it. They're not crazy fast, but they're pretty fast. Somewhere beyond the sea, somewhere waiting for me. Okay, and so you get back to measure 5, and you've got your A chord with your 4. And then C sharp 7 is what? That seems weird. And it's not super weird because you think about A, B, C. It's going to be a C sharp when you're in A. So C sharp minor is what we'd expect there. He's putting in a C sharp 7. So it's a little surprising. And then go to your F sharp minor again with the C sharp on the pinky. A regular E7. A little 2 pieces of melody, and then you see where I stopped. I was like, oh gosh, what is that? So you're playing an A chord, okay? So put your A chord on. That's the first step. And the problem is when you see the 4 is the low note, right? So that should tell you where your bar is, but there's all this other stuff around. I'm like, is that right? But your bar's on 4, 5, and 6. There's your A chord, and then the melody happens to be a 7 with your pinky. So now you just put that down. That looks crazier when you're like, well, I don't know what that is. Well, it's really just your G chord moved up to 4, A chord, pinky on 7. Okay, my lover stands, and then you go back to some open notes on golden, and then this is another place. You got a D up here on 9. So your 2 low notes are 9, so that tells you where your bar is, and then you got a 10 and 11. Again, same thing. It's just your F shape, and then you can easily switch it out to the middle finger to get your 7th chord, and then back to the major chord. Now notice the first one is a D chord, the second one's a 7th chord, and the next one's a minor chord. And notice that the D major and the B minor are exactly the same chord shape. And that's going to happen on ukulele when you move up the neck, is that there are many, many times when a major chord and a minor chord will share the same exact shape, but they're playing a different role in the song at that moment. And so you're not surprised to hear, my lover stands on golden sands. And this feels, it's the same exact shape, but you know that that's a minor because you know a little bit about the song. And you could, if you switch out to a more minor sounding or a more official minor looking shape, it can go wonky on you pretty fast. So I think just using the D major twice there makes the most sense. Hit the 9 one more time. And then go grab your E chord. Watches the ships. Open D chord. That go. Here's the 7th shape, B7, say, regular E7. Somewhere Make sure you that little F sharp minor there is not a melody note, so you're just filling it in to change the chord. And then hit the 0, nice bar on 2, E7, A chord with your pinky on 4 again. And then this little E7 run. And then here's your A chord again with pinky on 7. Bar on 9, F shape in front. Change it to the 7th chord. And back to this other. And back to your E chord. F sharp minor, D chord, B7th. Okay, and when you see 2 B7s in a row, bum, bum, followed by another 7th, you're almost positively going to be modulating into a new key. So we started off in A, and then we're not changing key signatures, but all of a sudden all these C sharps show up, right? And you're like, oh, I think I'm in a different key. Okay, and you really are, because now you're going to go with this bar here and a 4 here. When you switch keys, no matter what key you start in, and when you switch to the new key, probably pretty high likelihood that the chords are going to get hard to play. And you watched me as I was digging in through these top 2 staves, is like, geez, this is a lot of work. Okay, and those of you guys who are serious about jazz, you guys know that there's going to be some memorization on these tougher places because there's just no way to read this quickly and conveniently. I've been reading tablature for almost 20 years now, and I can read it pretty fast, but when I get into this kind of a thing, you're like, I probably better memorize some of these moments, okay? You don't need to memorize the music, but you do need to memorize these moments that look a little crazy, okay? So measure 24, you got your C sharp. Well, I should hit the 4 first. It's far, and then you got your A sharp minor, 7th, and then this F6. This shape's going to come up a lot. It's your D minor, right? You start with your D minor, put your pinky up here on that, and then slide it forward one. So that shape is going to come up a lot over the next few months in jazz. So that you got that. And isn't that beautiful? Okay, you don't get to play that during the day, right? And then 3 2 3. Okay. When you don't see me using a note on the 4th string, that tells you this is a really unpleasantly complicated chord, and we're just all going to be a whole lot happier if you just don't hit this. Right? It sounds terrible, but if I just use a simpler shape, then I don't need to do one of these deals. Because it doesn't help necessarily to get that there. Just skip the 4th string. In guitar, we're very comfortable with skipping strings, but in ukulele, we don't do it that much. So when you see something that's missing the top string, I really thought about it. I really, really had to make a decision, and it's like, okay, fine. We'll just use 3 strings here. Okay, so just play those 3, and then 4, 6. And then look at what you got here. 8. Always look at your low notes first. Those are 8s. And then 9 and 10. Okay. Now it's called a C. It's called a C sharp. Okay. And then you got 6 5 6. Or 6 5 4. Sorry. So what I'm thinking is diving back to 4 and raising this up. 6 5 4. Okay. So it's your B. It's just your A shape, B flat, up on 4. Right. 6 5 4. Is that what I got? Where am I? 6 5 4. Yep, that's what I'm going to use there. Okay, it's a B. It's a what is it? B flat, C sharp. Oh, that's what it says it is. C sharp, and then you hit the 4. It's your melody note, and then you've got all 6s. Okay, you're like, oh, thank God. Then you go back to this 3 2 3 business. Grab the 4, and then again, 8s are your low numbers, 9 and 10. And then 8, 9, 7. What I would look at there is syncing. All right, I'm going to drop back to 7. Now this is on 9. I need to switch that to 8, and this one needs to switch up to 9. So I'm going to switch those two. I have this flea in here that's trying to drink my drink. Okay, hear that? So what you're dealing with is bar on 7, 9 and 8. Okay, it's sort of a B flat and B7, but not really. Okay, and then so that's signaling you one more time. We're gonna have a key change. Got the double bar. Go grab the 2, and then one more new key. Now we're in the key of E. Okay, key signature doesn't change. Just the chords get super weird. E chord, C sharp minor. Bar on 4, A shape in front, pinky on 7. Okay, drop the bar or raise the bar up to 6. You're on 7 and 8. Melody, and then you got to go all the way to 11s and 12s, and don't hit the top string. Slide it back to 8. Get your 9s. Drop your index finger down to get the 7, and then go back up to 9s. Hit the 9 again. 6s are your bass, and then 7s and 8s. 4, 2, and then a nice E chord here. Okay, so far everything's like this. I don't think I like this song anymore. And then at E7, just switch down you're on a regular E chord, and then middle finger to get to the 5. Okay, and then you hear the chords change one last time, the key change one last time. Now we're going to go back into A. E7s lead into A. Everything makes sense from a music theory standpoint. Hit a 0, and then we're going to play out to the end just like it was the beginning. Go. Jumping yeah. Yes, Linda, I have a jumping flea in here trying to drink my kombucha. Have you ever had kombucha? It tastes horrendous, and this flea doesn't know it. All right, yeah, we've been the weather's warming up, so these full gnats have started showing up. So, guys, I'm gonna play the baritone version of this too, but here's my thinking on this piece of music. Beautiful piece of music, really high level of intensity in terms of chording. You got essentially 4 keys. Well, it's 3 keys. The main key switches into the secondary key, switches into the 3rd key, and then comes out at the end. So you're really dealing with A section, another A section, a B and a C section, and then back to an A section. I would spend all my time on the front page. I'd spend all my time until I really got that down where I could play it kind of smoothly, and then I'd look at those other 2 ones up there. This would be, by any stretch of the imagination, one of the harder pieces that we've ever played. So just know if you're struggling with that, you should be struggling with that. That's a tough little piece of music. And let's run it through real quick on baritone, only so that ukulele players, you have a chance to figure out which chords you know and which ones you don't. And then you go look them up, right? That's one thing that I ask of you guys being in the advanced. There's no such thing as advanced ukulele. In the more advanced group, that when you don't know a chord, you're at the level where you should be like, I don't know that chord, I'm going to go look it up when I have a minute. Let's grab the baritone version of this and see how it plays. A lot of times, if I write something on ukulele, it ends up exactly the same on baritone, but it ends up with some very different effects because you don't have this high note here. And sometimes I can get away with doing things a tiny bit different. A lot of times it's identical note, shape for shape, and so you guys are comfy with that. But if I'm a ukulele player and I'm looking at this and I'm saying, all right, we're starting with E chord, C sharp minor, A chord, and B7, I'm thinking, I don't like any of those chords. And so you may want to take a little bit of time when you have a minute to go check out what your chords are on this one. If you haven't done so already, pretty good chance you already did. Kari says, it's a little disconcerting at first. Now, I should point out, Kari's one of the most advanced ukulele players I know, one of the hardest working women in ukulele, and she's like, yeah, it's a little disconcerting. It's a tough piece, and when you have 3 key changes, I can assure you there's no good key. There is no good key, and you see on that song, for example, your melody is sometimes way down here on this string, and we go all the way up to 11 or 12 on this song, so that tells you it barely fits onto a ukulele, and that's why it's hard. Okay, when you're way down here and way back here, you got to be patient with yourself. If you're newer, you play the melody, and by newer I mean the last 3 years or so, right? You're playing melody, but all of you guys that have been around more than 6 months know how to do tough uke, and you just take your time, go slow, don't turn the metronome on, go listen to the music a few times, and then go through and play it and see what comes out. All right, Kat says, holy cow. Holy cow. My goodness. All right, on baritone, very slow, one time through, and then let's move on. 1, 2, 3. Gary? Where's 11s and 12s. Six, seven, 8. Oh, he made it through the bridge. Phew, brutal, right? So lot of music there, and I'd say if you can put this one to bed, you're going to have something that not very many people on this planet can play, and and believe me, guys, when I do stuff like this, I go through 27 different keys, and there's only 24, trying to figure out what is the dang-on best way to make this work on ukulele. And so some of this jazz stuff, you just got to be ready. It's going to be tough. Some of it's going to be perfect and beautiful and fun, and some of it's going to just be a little bit tougher than you want. And you kind of decide, right? Let's lighten things up a little bit. Go grab Blue Moon for ukulele. Blue Moon for ukulele. Download ukulele and Blue Moon. Blue Moon, where are you? Blue Hawaii, Blue Moon. There we go. Okay. Now, Blue Moon, you look at the page right now and you're like, oh, thank God. Okay. Hopefully you're just like, this is not at all what I had. Even the chords are hard on baritone. Owie. Yes. No, that's a tough song, guys. And so some of the jazz stuff's gonna make you sad, but don't let it make you sad. Just play it slow. Take your time. You watched me. I'm fighting it. I know what I'm doing, right? But I haven't put in enough time on that song to just have my hands just magically showing up there. But again, in jazz, there's going to be a few chord shapes that we're not accustomed to, and you'll be looking at the page going, I have no idea what he's talking about. So Deb came in in. Sometimes it's better to just listen. Deb walks in the middle of we walk in with the baritone. Oh, I'm going to ukulele to play music, and when she walks in, she's like, oh, I'm kind of glad I'm a little late. Linda says, yeah, it's a good challenge, right? And it's maybe not the most popular jazz tune, but it's certainly a fun one. Let's see. Linda said, Christy says, baritone tough was easier. It's probably because you're just getting better at it, right? It's part of that is on, again, with jazz chording and some of the weird shapes we're going to have to do, having a tiny bit of extra movement, or a little bigger area to work with is not a bad thing. Those of you guys that haven't bought baritones, I totally get it. It's perfectly fine to play your whole life with this, but as you get into this advanced music, you may want a teeny tiny bit more room to negotiate on the fretboard, and baritones allow you to have it. The other thing with baritones is stuff fits on a baritone easier than it does on ukulele, because we're squishing things down to 1.5 octaves where it has 2 full octaves. So there's that to be considered. And Chrissy says, you can start to feel the chord shapes after a while. Well, isn't that true of everything? I want you to go back to day one, and not in my class, but in somebody else's class. Here's a C chord. Here's an F chord. Here's a G chord. Okay, now we're going to play Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And the whole time you're like, I don't know how to get this on in time, right? So remember back to that day. And we have lots of people, newer players, that are just still working on this, right? And now you guys are up to this one, right? Which is what? What is that? And this one's normal now, right? That shows up with this one on 9, right? All of these chords are things that are just very normal to you. In fact, that I put E chords in and don't even think about it now. You should feel good about that. You are playing crazy difficult pieces with really wonky chord shapes, and to be honest, jazz is where it ends. Jazz is where the weird chord shapes end. There's nothing higher than jazz to give you any sadness about chording. So you should know you've arrived. Okay, this is the end of the cul-de-sac, and you're there. All right, Blue Moon. I'm just gonna play. Okay, and you'll figure it out as we go along. It's not near the song that the other one was. Crazy slow. It's supposed to be 120. I like this song about 80. 1, 2, 3. Page 2. just a moment there. Probably should be a fermato over that rest. We don't talk about fermatas on turnarounds that often, but we should do more of it. Because when you get into this turnaround, that chord there, bomb, you know that you're going back to the beginning of the song. And so it's very normal in music to let that ring just a little bit while everybody's sort of flipping their pages over, getting back to page one, and then let's go on. Now, by the way, after the previous song, think about this. This song feels like nothing, right? This is still a heavy-duty, well-known song. Maybe not world-class, but a doggone good song. And we're just playing it with a whole lot more ease because the chords are a little bit more expected. Those shapes are a little more expected. There's still plenty of interesting shapes to throw you here. So let's go to the top and let's play it one last time through on ukulele. Ready, go. Fermata and then go. Yeah, I'll look at the end of that last chord. I was going into 33 going, there's a G chord, there's a, what is that? Oh, it's just a C chord. D7 on 5, followed by G on 7. Or, yeah, G on 7. So, that plays, right? That song plays right there. And so if you're thinking, well, I'd like to play some jazz tonight, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to regale my significant other who I've been locked up in the house with for a year. I'm going to play them something. Right there. And guys, hopefully you're noticing that the chords make a whole lot of sense all the way through, right? And that's one, we talked about it last week, that's one where a lot of you guys will remember back in the 50s, one of the bands did a kind of a doo-wop version of that. Do, 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 blue moon, do, 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 saw me standing alone, do, 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 do. So you can play it faster, but I don't really like that song that way. That song, you know, the dude standing out there, he's all sad, and he's under a blue moon. And finally, his girlfriend comes around, or I guess we don't know if it's a male or female narrator. Their lover comes around, and then all of a sudden the moon turns to gold, and then you could speed it up, right? Follow the narrative of the music. And I noticed in many places, as I was playing, I've got either quarter notes or straight quarter, straight eighth notes, but it's definitely a song that's kind of encouraging you to swing it just a little bit, so that make some of your notes longer and some shorter. Dun 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 dun. Get a little bit of a galloping fill into it, and you'll probably do a tiny bit better with it. Let's see. Linda says, that seemed easy now. I know, right? You're like, oh, well, that was easy. And again, I hope you guys know, even if you're just sitting in and you're not necessarily a member of the website yet, or you're not even really don't have access to sheet music or what, this is it. This is the end of the road, and this is hard stuff. And even the easy stuff is super hard here. And when you're looking at a song like this and you're playing it, and you're like, oh, that was no big deal. That's a big deal. Okay? I don't like the word advanced ukulele because it doesn't mean anything, but it's definitely going to be challenging for you to find stuff that's harder to play than this kind of stuff. And hard to play isn't in and of itself the description of what's advanced. I've seen some arrangements that were super hard to play, and it was just because the arranger was bad, right? And the arrangement made no sense. And I routinely get stuff like that on the orchestra, and you're like, here, I would like to play this, and you start reading through, and you're like, well, this is super hard to play, and it's just the arranger hasn't taken time to really go through and work out a lot of the problems. I really do try to work out all the problems for you guys before I give it to you, but some problems cannot be solved. And so have fun with this one. We're going to play the baritone version of it. Ukulele players, you know your chords, so hopefully. And so let's go through and find out if there's any that you don't know, and I'll give you a chance to look them up this week. 1, 2, 3. Change that 10 out for a 9. Oh man, I'm a genius. Change the 10 out for a 9, and then you got a major, or is that a major 7th? Yeah, it's a major 7th. Bar on 10, ring finger on 9. And shake your ukulele a little bit. Nice. All right, that's a totally different idea, but it would lead into whatever your next jazz tune is. So there's that. Is there a term for songs that follow the same chord pattern almost throughout the song? Is Elizabeth here? I don't know. I think there is. I think that there is. Pachelbel's, it's a canon. That's what it's called. Pachelbel's canon. There are 4 chords, or is it 6? There are the set number of chords, and they just repeat over and over and over and over. That's called a canon. And so thank you, Linda. I haven't been to music school yet. Don't ask me no hard questions. But yeah, it's a canon is what that's called. So Pachelbel's canon is named because it just repeats and repeats and repeats, and then inside of that repeated chord structure, that's when you build in your melodies and your variations and that sort of thing. So it's called a canon. All right. Thanks, Linda. Kari, that's our reward for the other one. All right. If you guys talk too much smack about it, I'm going to start saying that Beyond the Sea is my favorite song, and we're going to play it every time. Almost ended at the same time. Close enough. Diane and I have finally come, we've gotten on the same page in terms of, we're going to have fun, we're going to get it close. That's what we're after. Thanks, Linda. All right, how are we doing on time? I'm going to pull you guys over just a little bit. I do want to play Girl from Ipanema, and we may not play it on both instruments, but we for sure need to play it on ukulele. So baritone players, you guys are going to pay attention. So grab your Girl from Ipanema. There's one chord we have to talk about. That's it. There's only one chord, and everything else is going to be just duck soup on this one. Girl from Ipanema, ukulele. And we may have talked about this last week, this one chord. Yeah. So I need you to start at measure 38. Go to 38. Measure 38, please. Measure 38, Girl from Ipanema, ukulele version. Guys, the baritone version is note for note the same, so baritone players, you guys know your drill. You'll pay attention to what we're teaching here, and then you will go do it on your instrument. You probably want a baritone on this one, because this one's hard to play. This one's not as hard. This one's not Beyond the Sea hard by any stretch of the imagination. The chord at measure 38, if you are playing chords and singing, which there's no reason not to, is a B flat 7. Okay? Yeah. When I smile, and when she passes, I smile, but she doesn't see. Okay, that's what's happening there. If you're an instrumentalist, that's not what's going to happen at all. Your melody is. So you got to be ready for that 10. It's going to sneak up and bite you. Yeah, I don't think there's a 10 anywhere else in the song. Nothing even really. Oh, there is one more 10. Okay, but this 10 is going to be down here, and you're all happy. You're like, okay, we're almost to finish the song up. The Girl from Ipanema. So that's what you got to do. Now, chord players, I gave you the little chord diagram underneath here because you just have to memorize it. 9, 10, 11. Okay. And yeah, that's the chord. Okay, nothing is right about it. Okay, you're in a C major piece, and a D flat 7 has no business being there. It should be against the law for that to even be in there, and there it is. Okay, and the reason it's there is because we're talking about this little tall and lovely, and she's beautiful, and she's walking down the beach, and she's just tan, and we're in love with her, and we're positive she's going to stop and have a meaningful conversation with us, and she walks right on by, right? And so that's what the composer is doing. Pretty smart songwriting if you think about it. And when she passes, I smile, but she doesn't see. So it's a really critical moment. If you can get that one moment, if I practiced only one thing on this song, it would be that chord right there. Let's run through the rest of this piece really quickly. Baritone players, you just look at your chords. I don't think that you're going to have a tough time figuring them out overall, but obviously toss me an email if there's any you don't know for sure. But your chord finder should help you out plenty on this one. As we've talked about throughout jazz, if you see a bunch of stuff after a chord, and let me see if I can give you a good example. Something like measure 19 and 20 where you have a G flat 9. You can just play a G flat there. The 9 makes it sound cooler, but it's not the end of the world. The 9's going to show up in the melody probably, so you don't have to lose too much sleep over it. If I'm learning this song and it says C major 7, tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking in. That's what I'm supposed to play. But if I don't know those chords, what if I just did a C chord and a D and a regular D7? Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking, and when she watches each man she watches goes by. I'm basically getting it with taking out everything after the chord name, right? You could even do just C's and D's. Tall and tan and young and lovely, the girl from Ipanema goes walking. It's regular D minor. When she passes H, D flat, E, G passes goes D flat. So the thinking here is in jazz, how I really want you to understand about jazz is all of the stuff we do all day long when we're talking about 1-4-5 and 1-4-5, 6 minor, we're talking about all this. It's exactly the same in jazz, except they're adding an extra note or two into each chord to make them sound cool. And they're not absolutely necessary notes. They definitely color the overall sound of the piece of music. It's really, really beautiful, fabulous, cool, smart thing that they do. But it isn't necessarily. Thanks, Jeanette. Glad you came. Hope I didn't run you off. When you are talking about that kind of style of music, we're just adding in some extra notes to color the overall feeling of the song, and that's where jazz comes from. Okay, so we're just going to do this one time through because I don't want to keep you too late. But notice how the melody also has a tendency to wipe out some of the basic chording here and actually make the song a little bit easier from a tough uke perspective. From the top, 1, 2, 3, 4. Whoops, sorry. G chord. Oops, sorry. F chord. And then this is the tough chord, I think. Wait for you. And slide it back. Go to your second ending. That's what you got. Baritone's identical. And again, make sure you got chord number, the chord at 38 figured out. Just slide up, grab your 9, 10, 11, and to play just the top 3 strings. And then you get that crazy chord there that doesn't belong there, but it sounds super neat if you can get it right. Most of the time when I get there, I'm not ready for it and I flub it. And that doesn't help the flow of the song at all. And remember, the only other thought on this song is that playing it straight, reading the sheet music and going, all right, eighth note, quarter note, dotted quarter note, that's not really what you want to be doing. You want to be feeling this in your bossa nova soul. Dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da-da, bump, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da-da, bump. And you can hear how much more emphasis is placed on beat 1. Bump, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da-da, bump, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-da-da-dum, bum, ba-ba-bum, bum, 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 bum. So getting that bossa nova feel in there is pretty important. All right, guys, that's all we have for now. Next week, I should have 1 or 2 more for you. Plus, then we'll take requests from the peanut gallery as to which other songs you want to work on. If it were me, and I was thinking, you know what, I'm surviving Monday nights in Gary's crazy insano class, I should probably be practicing. I will tell you that in the event that the Rocky Mountain Ukulele Orchestra can meet this fall, we will be having a digital version as well as a live version, and we will be playing jazz, and we will be playing a lot of this stuff that you have already. So those of you who are thinking, it's kind of fun music, but it's a little too hard for me, or it's not something I'm really, spend some time, start digging into it. And if we are able to meet this fall, those of you here locally for sure will end up wanting to play this stuff. And of course, those of you guys who are joining me from other places around the world, we're going to find a way to make sure you're involved in that as well. So you're looking at sheet music that's going to be around a while, and yeah, it's super hard, but I know that if you take the time to dig into it, they're good arrangements, and I do think that they play okay. Beyond the Sea is probably maybe not the hardest arrangement I've ever done, but it's up there, right? And so don't feel like, oh God, I can't play this thing. You can play it. You may have to slow it down a lot. Hope you guys are having a wonderful night. So good to see everybody. It just makes me delighted when we log in on Monday nights, and I'm like, all right, I get to see all of those guys. So have a wonderful evening. Obviously, email me if you have concerns or questions or whatever. I think somebody sent me a note about a couple of typos that I got to read a little more carefully on something else. I don't remember what it was. And in any event, give some thought to just sitting down and playing jazz in the evenings when you're doing nothing. All right, let's see who's sneaking out here. Patricia, thanks for being here. Evelyn, thank you for being here. Diane, have a great night. Sherry, good to see you, bud. Glad you're here. Glad you're sticking it out. Kari, that was fun. It's hard, right? So fun in a very in different kind of way about fun. Linda, good to see you. I'm so glad you can join us on Monday nights. Kari, you're welcome. Vic, off you go. See you in the morning. Vic and I are spending a lot of time together these days. Annie, good to see ya. Mame, been there, didn't see that girl. Only people on the beach with dogs. I have been to, and I'm not a big beach guy, but I was in Italy one time, and I saw about 10 of this girl, and you're just like, holy mackerel, I didn't even know they made people like, I've seen pictures of that in the magazine. I didn't know they were for real. They walk by and you're like, oh God, I am so glad I don't have to deal with that. Yeah, so they do exist, Mame. I like the people with the dogs a little bit more though, right? Those people are okay. Barbara, good to see you. Amy, did you veto Setendal? I did not veto. I just didn't put it on my list. Let me edit the page and I will put it on there. I apologize. I don't know. I end up with multiple lists and sometimes things get lost in the shuffle. So I'll add Setendal on there, Amy, and we'll make it happen. Setendal, R-S-T. Enter, shift, Setendal. All right. Update. Do I know that song? I hope I know that song. It sounds familiar. I'll go look it up. So there we go, Amy. It's in. Pauline, first song was challenging things. Yeah. The others. Well, right? We want some of the people want a challenge. There you go. Okay, those of you who like to tell me you need a challenge, there you go. Michael, you bet. Thanks, y'all. Michael suddenly became from Texas. Janice, 3 great tunes. Thanks. Good to see you, Janice. Say hi to Mary. Deb, jazz. Yes, it beats witches. Digital opportunities plus real practice would be great. Yeah, I think Deb, we're going to be, most of us will be vaccinated by this fall, but that doesn't necessarily mean we're going to want to get together. There's still going to be issues with that going on, and you still can get, even if you've been vaccinated, you can still get sick. You just, it's less likely you end up in a hospital, and so we'll be working out all the logistics of that. I'm going to be far more careful than some of the other groups are being, and so we'll figure something out, make it happen for everybody. Carol, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Sweet pea, please. I'll add it to the list. That one I definitely haven't heard of. Let me see if I can. Sweet pea. Now where's my list? There it is. Sweet pea. Well, I don't even know if I know that song. I know I don't know that song. Sweet pea. All right, Val. It's on there. Let's see what comes up. Linda, don't veto Satindal. She's down for Satindal. Christy says Jolly Roger should be delivered by Monday. Oh, did you get one? I'm very excited, Christy. We're going to start a gallery on the website of anybody who gets a shirt and represents. Take a funny picture of you doing something, and then we'll start a rotating gallery of anybody representing with their Jolly Roger shirt. Or I think you can order a hat, or just print it out on a piece of paper and go stand by some monument near wherever you live. Representing Jolly Roger. I'll start a gallery. We'll put that on the About page. It's funny. That's a funny idea. Good to see you, Christy. Glad you made it in tonight. Jasmine, good to see you. Amy, hooray! Thank you. You're a satin doll. I'm a doll, aren't I? Those are people who know me know I'm not a doll. I'm many things, but a doll is not one of them. Mame, good to see you. Glad you're home. Careful, very important. Yeah, this is an activity that we've got to just enjoy making music, and we have lots of ways to do that, and we don't necessarily have to put ourselves at risk in order to do that anymore. And I was telling somebody, you guys can go whenever you want to. I'm just sitting and chatting. I was telling somebody, when I moved downtown here, I have been sick the entire winter, every single winter since I moved here. So 5 winters in a row, I've been sick with a cold or some other sort of creeping crud through every winter. And this winter, I have been happy and healthy the entire time. So it appears to me, I think the evidence is you guys getting me sick. And and I do, I hang out with a couple hundred people every week, so there's a pretty good chance a bug's going to catch me in that place. And it's, we used to be very close to one another in terms of our operating space. And so there's no question in my mind that we spread virus among ourselves. And so we're going to think of ways to be better about that. And Yeah, and so hopefully all you guys are getting your vaccines in, and we will keep going on this music. And again, if I've forgotten a song that you suggested or whatever, just send me another email. We'll add it to the list. We'll see what I can get to. Jazz music is much harder to arrange than anything else I arrange, and so it does take takes longer to get that stuff together. Plus, as you guys know, I'm working on a ton of other stuff as well, so it's just allocating time to get to it. But you guys that are members are the number one reason that I'm doing this, and number two is all the other reasons that I have. Right, I want to get better at playing guitar. I want to learn how to play harmonica. I want to teach as many people our system as possible, so that they will go out and infect the rest of the world with fingerstyle ukulele, and so all of those are great reasons to just show up and play music to hear. So, all right, guys. Linda says this was lovely. I think Linda's saying, all right, here's the hook. Get off. And I will see all of you guys either tomorrow, for those of you guys who make it during the day, and the rest of you guys I'll see next weekend. And keep playing, and I will, if you will keep showing up, I will keep writing more arrangements. How about that? Does that seem like a fair deal? I'll probably keep writing them even if you don't. I pay a lot of money for my software, so I feel like I got to get the good out of it. That's why my computer's all falling apart. And I'm mad at Finale all the time. All right, guys. That's enough. I'm pulling the plug. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,